First contact gone wrong. The steady hum of the Dauntless's engines provided a comforting background noise as Captain Ilara Voss reviewed the manifest for their delivery to Proxima Centauri's newest colony. 40,000 tons of terraforming equipment, agricultural supplies, and construction materials. Nothing particularly valuable to pirates, but essential for the struggling settlement. The Dauntless wasn't a military vessel, just a Class 3 cargo hauler with a crew of 28 and modest defensive systems that had never seen actual combat. "Captain, we've got something strange on long-range sensors," called Lieutenant Maya Chen from the navigation console, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Didn't show up on our charts during pre-jump calculations." Voss moved to stand behind her officer, studying the anomalous readings. "Could be a sensor ghost from the jump. Run diagnostics." "Already did. Twice." Chen's fingers flew across the holographic interface. "It's real, and it's changing course to intercept." The main view screen shifted to display the approaching vessel, or rather, vessels. 3 ships with sleek, almost organic lines unlike any human design Voss had ever seen. Their hulls gleamed with an iridescent material that seemed to absorb and reflect light simultaneously. "First contact situation," Voss said quietly, feeling the weight of historical significance settle on her shoulders. "Protocol states." "They're accelerating, Captain," interrupted Security Officer Riker, his voice tight. "And their weapon systems just came online." "So much for protocol. All hands to defense stations," Voss ordered, her voice carrying throughout the ship via the internal comm system. "Power up shields and defensive systems. Communications, broadcast first contact package Alpha on all frequencies." The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency, despite the tension crackling in the air. The first contact package, a series of mathematical sequences, basic language primers, and peaceful imagery developed by xenolinguists, began transmitting toward the approaching vessels. "No response to our transmission," reported Communications Officer Trask after a tense minute. "They're still coming, and they've launched something. Small objects, 3 of them, moving fast." Analysis. "Boarding craft," Riker confirmed grimly. "Design suggests they're built to breach hulls." Voss felt a cold anger settle in her chest. Their first encounter with an alien species, and they were being treated like helpless prey. "They think we're defenseless." Typical predator mentality. Test the unfamiliar for weakness. She straightened her spine. "Let's disappoint them." Tactical. Target those boarding craft with point defense. Communications. Prepare a new message. The Dauntless's point defense system, originally designed to destroy incoming debris and micrometeorites, activated with a series of sharp reports. Streams of hypervelocity projectiles intercepted the incoming boarding craft. 2 exploded in brilliant flashes. The third managed to evade the initial barrage, but was caught by a second volley and disintegrated. The alien vessels seemed to pause momentarily, as if surprised. "Broadcast this," Voss instructed. "This is Captain Ilara Voss of the Earth merchant vessel Dauntless. Your unprovoked attack on our vessel constitutes an act of aggression. We have defended ourselves accordingly, and will continue to do so if threatened. We remain open to peaceful communication." The response came not in words, but in action. The alien vessels spread out in a classic flanking maneuver, their weapons systems fully charging. "They're firing," Riker called. The Dauntless shuddered as energy weapons impacted its shields. The bridge lighting flickered momentarily. "Shields holding at 82%, reported Engineer Petal from her station. "But their weapons are adapting to our shield frequency. Each hit is more effective than the last." "Return fire," Voss ordered. "Main cannons, target the lead vessel's propulsion systems. Let's show them we have teeth." The Dauntless wasn't built for combat, but humanity had learned harsh lessons in its early expansion beyond Sol. Even cargo vessels carried weapons that could fight back. The ship's main electromagnetic cannons charged with a rising whine before unleashing 2 projectiles accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed. The alien vessels, evidently unprepared for a merchant ship to possess such armament, attempted evasive maneuvers too late. The first projectile grazed the lead ship's hull, ripping through exotic alloys and leaving a trail of venting atmosphere. The second struck more firmly, causing a cascade of secondary explosions along the alien vessel's midsection. "Direct hit," Riker announced, surprise evident in his voice. "Their primary power systems are destabilizing." On the view screen, the wounded alien ship listed to one side, trailing debris and energy discharges. Its companions broke formation, one moving to provide cover while the other continued its attack run on the Dauntless. "They're broadcasting something," Trask reported. "Wideband transmission. All frequencies. Likely a distress call." "Good," Voss replied grimly. "Let's give their friends something to think about. Target the second vessel. Fire when ready." The Dauntless's cannon spoke again, but this time the alien vessel was prepared. It executed a series of impossible maneuvers, the projectiles missing by meters. Its return fire was more precise, hammering the human ship's shields. "Shields at 64%, Patel called out. "They're learning our patterns." "So are we," Voss countered. "Tactical, analyze their evasion algorithms and compensate. Engineer, divert emergency power to the shields. Let's weather this storm." For the next 10 minutes, the vessels engaged in a deadly dance through the void. The Dauntless absorbed hit after hit, its shields gradually weakening but holding. The second alien vessel proved more difficult to hit, but Riker's targeting systems adapted with each exchange, drawing closer to a solution. "I've got them," he finally announced. "Firing solution complete." This time, when the cannons fired, the alien could not evade. The projectiles struck in quick succession, the first disrupting some kind of energy field while the second penetrated deep into the vessel's core. The alien ship didn't explode. Instead, it simply went dark, all systems failing simultaneously. The third vessel, seeing its companions disabled, began to retreat, accelerating rapidly. "They're running," Chen said, disbelief coloring her voice. "Not yet, they're not," Voss replied. "Target their propulsion systems. Disable, don't destroy." The cannons fired one final time. The projectile caught the fleeing vessel's engine section, shearing off a portion of its drive assembly. The ship spun wildly before emergency systems stabilized it, but it was clearly crippled, unable to escape. "Now they're running," Voss said with grim satisfaction. "Or trying to." She turned to her communications officer. "Broadcast again, all frequencies." When Trask nodded, Voss spoke clearly and forcefully. "Attention alien vessels. You attacked without provocation and have been neutralized. We had the capability to destroy you completely but chose restraint. Remember this encounter. Humanity comes in peace, but we will defend ourselves with all necessary force. Any further aggression will be met with appropriate response. This message will repeat." As the message began transmitting, Voss studied the disabled alien ships on her view screen. Damage report. "Shields at 41%, multiple hull breaches on decks 3 and 4, but emergency containment is holding," Paddle reported. "Weapons systems functioning at 76% capacity. No casualties reported, though medical is treating 6 injuries from impact trauma." "What about them?" Voss nodded toward the alien vessels. "Life support appears functional on all 3 ships," Chen answered after consulting her sensors. "They're operating on emergency power. No immediate danger of catastrophic failure." "Should we render assistance?" asked Trask hesitantly. Voss considered this for a long moment. "No, they came as predators. Let them lick their wounds and carry tales of this encounter back to their people. We'll continue our mission to Proxima Centauri, but remain at battle stations, and send a priority communication to Earth Command with full details of this encounter." She paused. "Including my recommendation that all ships in this sector travel in convoys until we know more about these visitors." As the Dauntless continued on its course, leaving the crippled alien vessels behind, Voss couldn't help but wonder what repercussions this first contact would have. Humanity had been tested and had proven itself far from helpless. But the galaxy had just become a more complicated place. Little did she know how soon that complication would arrive. The human response. 3 days after the encounter, the Dauntless was still on high alert. Repair crews had patched the hull breaches, and Engineer Patel had coaxed the shields back to 73% capacity. Not ideal, but better than they had any right to expect given the circumstances. The crew worked in shifts, everyone pulling double duty as they maintained constant vigilance while continuing toward Proxima Centauri. Captain Voss had just finished reviewing the latest diagnostics when Lieutenant Chen's voice came over the comm. "Captain, to the bridge. Emergency." Voss was moving before Chen finished speaking, taking the ship's central lift directly to the command deck. "Status report," she demanded as she stepped onto the bridge. "Multiple contacts," Chen replied without looking up from her console. 7 vessels, same design as our previous encounter but larger. They dropped out of FTL at the edge of our sensor range and are moving to intercept. Tactical analysis. Security Officer Riker's expression was grim. Based on energy signatures, they're much better armed than the scout vessels we encountered. These are warships, Captain. Voss absorbed this news with outward calm, though her mind raced. They're here for revenge. Or to finish what their scouts started, Riker suggested. Same difference. Voss took her command chair, studying the tactical display. The alien vessels were approaching in a hemisphere formation designed to cut off retreat. Time to intercept. 43 minutes at current speeds. Not enough time to outrun them, even if the Dauntless hadn't been damaged. All hands to battle stations. Power up all defensive systems. As the alert klaxons sounded throughout the ship, Voss turned to her assembled bridge crew. "Suggestions, people. Our previous tactics won't work against a force this size. We could try to hide," offered Trask. "There's a dense asteroid field 2 light minutes off our current course. We might be able to evade them there." "They'd just wait us out," Riker countered. "Or worse, they might have technology to track us through the field." Engineer Petal spoke up from the engineering station. "What about our cargo?" All eyes turned to her. Petal continued. "We're carrying terraforming equipment. Some of that includes atmospheric processors with highly pressurized gases and reactive compounds." "You want to weaponize our cargo," Voss said, understanding immediately. Patel nodded. "With some modifications, those pressurized tanks could become very effective bombs. And the mining lasers for the colony could be temporarily repurposed as weapons. How quickly can you make these modifications?" "With all engineering personnel working on it. 30 minutes, maybe less." Voss nodded decisively. "Do it. Riker, coordinate with engineering. I want those weapons integrated into our defensive systems." She turned to the rest of the bridge. "We need more options. These aliens clearly underestimated us before. Let's make sure they do it again." As the crew dispersed to their tasks, Voss studied the approaching alien fleet. 7 against 1 were terrible odds, but humans had faced worse throughout their history. The aliens would be expecting a standard defensive action. Shields up, weapons ready, perhaps an attempt to flee. They wouldn't be expecting what Voss had in mind. 30 minutes later, Paddle reported from the cargo bay. "Modifications complete, Captain. We've converted 20 terraforming canisters into proximity mines and reconfigured 6 mining lasers for ship-to-ship combat. Deploy the mines in a standard drifting pattern," Voss ordered. "Make them look like random debris." As the Dauntless released its improvised weapons into space, Voss implemented the next phase of her plan. "Reduced power to all non-essential systems. Make it look like we're more damaged than we actually are." The ship's lights dimmed as power was diverted. On external sensors, the Dauntless would appear to be limping along, barely functional. "Alien fleet approaching," Chen reported. "They're slowing, moving into attack formation." "Open a channel," Voss ordered. When Trask nodded, she spoke clearly. "Attention alien vessels. This is Captain Ilara Voss of the Dauntless. We defended ourselves against your scouts' unprovoked attack. We have no quarrel with your people and wish only to continue our mission in peace. There was no response except for the continued approach of the alien fleet. Worth a try, Voss murmured. All hands, prepare for engagement. Execute Plan Trojan on my mark. The alien fleet closed distance rapidly, spreading out to surround the apparently crippled human vessel. Their confidence was palpable even across the void of space. 7 warships against 1 damaged cargo hauler. They're launching boarding craft again, Riker reported. Multiple vectors. Hold fire, Voss ordered, watching the tactical display intently. Let them commit. The boarding craft, 12 in total, accelerated toward the Dauntless. Meanwhile, the alien warships maintained position, weapons charged but not yet firing. They want to capture us intact, Voss observed. Waiting until now. Execute Plan Trojan. Several things happened at once. The Dauntless's engines flared to full power as the ship executed a maneuver that should have been impossible for a cargo vessel. The improvised mines, which had been drifting harmlessly as space debris, suddenly activated, their guidance systems locked onto the nearest alien vessels. And the converted mining lasers, hidden within the cargo bay, fired through rapidly opened hatches. The alien fleet, caught completely by surprise, reacted too slowly. 3 of the mines detonated against the lead warship's hull, the pressurized terraforming gases creating explosions that ripped through its armor. The mining lasers, never designed for combat, but incredibly powerful for their intended industrial purpose, cut through the armor of 2 more vessels with unexpected effectiveness. Direct hits on 3 vessels, Riker called out, his voice tight with concentration. 2 severely damaged, 1 with moderate damage. The others are returning fire. The Dauntless shuddered as energy weapons struck its shields. Evasive maneuvers, Voss ordered. Bring us around for another pass with the lasers. Deploy the remaining mines. What followed was not the orderly space battle the aliens had clearly expected, but a chaotic melee more reminiscent of Earth's ancient naval engagements. The Dauntless, significantly more maneuverable than the alien warships despite its size, weaved between its opponents, using their formations against them. Several times, alien vessels had to cease fire to avoid hitting their comrades. The converted mining lasers proved devastatingly effective at close range, designed as they were to cut through planetary rock. The remaining mines created confusion and forced the alien fleet to divide its attention. But the Dauntless was still outnumbered and outgunned. After 15 minutes of intense combat, the toll began to show. Shields failing, Paddle reported as another barrage struck the ship. Hull breaches on multiple decks. Laser capabilities down to 30%. Voss studied the tactical display. 4 alien vessels were severely damaged. 1 appeared completely disabled, but the remaining 2 were still fully operational and pressing their attack. The Dauntless couldn't sustain this fight much longer. Last resort, Voss decided. Prepare the colony starter package for deployment. Her bridge crew exchanged glances. The colony starter was the most valuable part of their cargo. A compact but powerful fusion reactor designed to power the initial colony settlement until larger infrastructure could be built. Engineer, can you remove all safety protocols from the starter's reactor? Patel's eyes widened in understanding. You want to overload it. Create an improvised fusion bomb. Precisely. How long? 5 minutes. Make it 3. As Paddle worked frantically, the Dauntless continued its desperate fight, now focused solely on keeping the alien vessels at bay long enough to deploy their final surprise. Reactor modified, Paddle reported exactly 3 minutes later. Remote detonation system in place. We'll have approximately 30 seconds after deployment before it goes critical. Deploy it now, directly between our position and the 2 operational warships. Then maximum thrust in the opposite direction. The modified reactor, essentially a fusion bomb waiting to happen, was ejected from the Dauntless's cargo bay. As soon as it was clear, Voss gave the order. Full power to engines. Get us out of the blast radius. The Dauntless accelerated away as the alien warships, perhaps sensing the trap, also began to move. But they were too slow, too confident in their superior technology. Detonation in 5, 4, 3. Riker counted down. All hands, brace for impact. The colony starter's reactor exploded in a miniature sun, the fusion reaction releasing energy equivalent to several nuclear weapons. The shockwave slammed into the Dauntless despite its distance, sending the ship tumbling end over end. When the sensors finally cleared, the tactical display told the story. The 2 operational alien warships had been completely destroyed. The others, already damaged, were adrift or operating on minimal power. The bridge was silent for a long moment as the crew processed what they had accomplished. Broadcast on all frequencies, Voss finally ordered, her voice hoarse from shouting commands. This is Captain Ilara Voss of the Earth merchant vessel Dauntless. You came with superior numbers and technology, yet you have been defeated. Remember this, humanity may be new to the galactic stage, but we are not prey. We prefer peace, but we will fight with everything we have when threatened. Spread the word. The message began transmitting as the Dauntless limped away from the battlefield, leaving behind the wreckage of an alien fleet that had made the fatal mistake of underestimating human ingenuity, determination, and the ferocity with which humans defend themselves when cornered. 2 weeks later, the Dauntless, battered but intact, arrived at Proxima Centauri. They delivered what remained of their cargo, enough for the colony to survive, if not thrive immediately, and with it, a warning and a message for Earth Command. Humanity's first contact had turned into humanity's first interstellar conflict, but they had sent a clear message to the galaxy. Underestimate humans at your peril. As news of the Dauntless's encounter spread, Earth accelerated its military shipbuilding and strengthened defensive protocols for all vessels. The aliens, eventually identified as the Vraxians, did not return to human space for many years. And when they did, it was not as conquerors or predators, but as cautious diplomats seeking formal relations with the species that had so thoroughly shattered their assumptions about primitive newcomers to the stars. Captain Ilara Voss would go down in history as the commander who taught the galaxy a vital lesson. Humans might be newcomers to interstellar travel, but they were ancient masters of the art of war.